Welcome back to Simply Fujica, a place for budding and aspiring entrepreneurs. I want to thank you for tuning in for another week here at the channel. And if this is your first time at the channel, I want to welcome you and for choosing to support this channel. So oftentimes you hear people talking about becoming the home care of choice. And you've even heard me discuss on this channel, how do you really differentiate yourself amongst all the other home care agencies that there are? So today I want to discuss, how do you become that provider of choice? I have put together 8 tips for you that we can discuss together. So if that's something that you're interested in, and I hope it is, then stay tuned. The first tip that I have for you is to provide high quality care. Now, this is a two-pronged approach. The first is making sure that you are hiring caregivers who are not only skilled, right? So typically when you're hiring for the caregiver, they know the role. They know physically what the demands are. A lot of times they've already done this role and have been in the industry for years. But we shouldn't stop with that. We also need to make sure that our caretakers are compassionate, that they really take pride in the level of care that they're providing our clients. And you can measure that by their responses, by them explaining their experience. When they talk about why they even got into this industry, most times people talk about their passion for people. Most times they have some type of story or something that made them realize this is to be my life's path. So remember, when you are recruiting for your caretakers and they are coming along to your agency, it should be a healthy balance of skill and compassion. The second piece of this is personalized care plans. Typically, your home care will have some type of onboarding process, and part of that process is assessing the client to understand what their needs are. This makes a client feel that you truly want to understand how your agency can come in and make that positive impact in that client's life. My tip here is not only doing this at the time of onboarding, but also there should be some type of follow-up assessment. Let's say 90 days from care, 60 days from the start of care. How is this client doing? Did you have any goals at the time that the client started service with you? So that will be a good time to reevaluate to see if the needs have changed. Maybe there's another service that you can add on at that time of reassessment. So remember, providing quality care is not just about your caregivers. It's also the way that we go about taking care of our clients once they have signed on with us. The second tip that I have for you is utilizing technology. We talked about this in my previous video when we were talking about making sure that we are taking care of our caregivers. Part of that is making sure that we have the appropriate tools needed in order to take care of our clients. That's not limited to the software that we utilize. It's not limited to some of the monitoring tools that we have to ensure that we always have an eye on our client, whether we're preparing something for them in another room or getting another room ready for them to come into. We still should always have eyes on that client. And so typically having some type of monitoring system can help out in that area. The third tip that I have for you is actually one of my favorite ones, and that is build a strong relationship. The deepest part of any relationship is open communication and trust. And with your clients, that's not any exception. If there are billing errors, maybe you need to change the care. Maybe you need to change the caregiver that was assigned to your client. Whenever you ensure that open lines of communication are open, then that client feels okay having those conversations with you because they know and trust that you have their best interest at heart. If you're always running from confrontation, you're not returning phone calls, really the client is not hearing from you other than to receive their bill, that's not going to make for a positive relationship. The second item that I have for this is involve the family. Involve the family as much as you can. I know for my mother-in-law and previous to my mom passing away, we were so hands-on with the care that our parents were receiving. And I think if you go into relationships expecting that from your clients, then that would be a win-win for both the family and for your agency. Really participate. Have them around when you do the assessment. You know, when you introduce that caregiver to mom, it would be nice if family was around to support mom, but also to get to know the agency. This is a positive way to make the family feel that they are informed and they are involved in the decisions made for their family members. The fourth tip that I have for you is to ensure compliance and to make sure that your agency is up to standards. You may not think that this is a big deal, but most people want to make sure that you are compliant and you are licensed in order to take care of their family. So you will see a lot of people ask, what credentials do you have? Tell me about your licensing process. Tell me about your agency. So when you're going out to do those interviews, don't be surprised if that client or that client's family member, they're interviewing you as well. And that's because they want to make sure that mom has the best care possible, right? So you just want to make sure that you are up to standards. You don't want to have any instances where you have to shut down or temporarily pause services because you are not in compliance. Make sure that you understand and comply with all regulatory requirements, and make sure that you stay organized. The fifth tip that I have for you is effective marketing and branding. Now, I have done a couple of videos on marketing, and so I'll make sure that those are included in the video description for you. So you all have heard me talk about this before. It is so important to build community partnerships, and the only way to do that is to build that relationship, to network, engage with your local community, build those partnerships that are going to incorporate word of mouth. Remember, I've said this several times before, home care is a word of mouth business. And so initially we're doing a lot of marketing. Initially we're getting into that community to really get ourselves out there. But the way that you're going to scale and grow is by referrals. People really talking about your home care agency in a wonderful way. People kind of spreading the word that they receive nothing short of excellent care from you. And so other people are going to want to know more about you. As much as you can, really participate in these events. If you can become a vendor at some of these events and have a booth, that would even be better. You really want to make sure that you build a strong, reliable reputation. That's only going to serve you, your community, and ultimately your agency. The sixth tip that I have for you is focus on value-based care. Now, this is making sure that you are constantly doing better. You want to make sure that whatever care that you're providing, it is value-based. I will tell you, I think I've used this as an example before on this channel. When I think personally on times that we have had to have home care services for a family member, there have been people throughout the years who were able to do the job, right? For sure. But when I think of the person that we have now that helps to take care of my mother-in-law, hands down, she is the absolute best, right? And it's the little things that she does that just kind of tips her over everybody else. And so when you think of that, that's the extra value that she brings. And so you want to translate that to your home care agency. What value do you bring? This is over and beyond the services that you provide, right? So if you think of your services as the baseline, how do you go above that to ensure that you're delivering excellent care, that you're bringing value to that client? This is how you're going to separate yourself from other home care agencies. It is the spirit of excellence that your agency brings that will separate you from the other home care agencies in your area. The second tip that I have with this is continuously seek feedback. So maybe once a month, check in with your clients. How are you doing? This could be email, it could be verbal. In addition to how are you doing and how would you rate your caregiver, you want to ask that client, do you have any recommendations for me? Is there any other way that I can improve? Because once that client understands that you not only care about them, but you want to hear their concerns, not only that you want to hear them, but you want to address them. And then by you making those changes with that client, there are some changes that everybody could benefit from. Again, making you a value-based home care agency. Again, the last couple of videos that I've done have been based on promoting well-being in our caregivers. And so that is our 7th tip: support for your caregivers. You want to make sure, especially if you find those caregivers that are A+, team players, that are excellent caregivers, you want to retain them. And so the first question you have, or you should have, is how can I make sure that my caregivers are receiving the support that they need to continue to do an excellent job? So we talked about some of those things. I actually gave you 8 tips in those videos as well. So I will make sure those are linked in. At the end of the day, you want to make sure that they are motivated and feel good about doing their job to represent your agency and take care of your client. The 8th and final tip that I have for you is be consistent. Once you finally get to that level of having excellent caregivers, you've created a robust program, you have really worked on your reputation in the community, and you have built the necessary relationships, make sure that you stay consistent in doing that. Consistently deliver that service. Consistently reach out to your clients. Consistently hire the right people for your agency. Consistency is always key. Okay, so that is all that I have for this video. So what did I miss? I would love for you to put in the comment section, what are some ways in which you differentiate yourself amongst the other home care agencies in your local area? If you enjoyed today's video, I would appreciate it if you liked the video. Do not forget to share it with someone who would benefit from this type of content. Subscribe to the channel and hit that bell notification so that you're notified each and every time I release a new video. That's all I have for you all today. Stay blessed. I am so excited to share that I have published my first book, Goodnight Boo. Goodnight Boo is not only a dream come true, but it's essentially a love letter to my first child. It's really talking about the joys of wanting to have a child and finally having that child. So I really do think this is something that all mothers can relate to. We certainly love our babies. We want the best for our babies, and this book celebrates that. So if you would like to support me and purchase a copy of the book, the link is in the description. As always, I want to thank you for your support.